So what we've done here at Eastwell Farm since we started, with a focus of improving environmental health with our production system. So effectively we want to run our cows here and have the cows as healthy as they possibly can be. So in order to get that right, you've got to get health in the plants. In order for the plants to be healthy, we've got to have health in the soil. Now, obviously we can't transition something that's been in poor health in a hurry. So we've got to do things steadily. So one of the things we do utilise, and they may be in the background, is our cows as an energy force for transition. The next thing is to look for the stuff that makes it better in the environment. Probably the number one thing is to have full ground cover. So plants that are growing across all our ground and not having any bare ground. Probably the closest I can see to bare ground here is just a little bit of dried off grass, but we're still not seeing the soil directly. The next thing is to allow plants to grow that want to be here. And some of them might be undesirable plants, and you can probably see some that people would consider undesirable. But they'll be telling us something about our soil and what might need to change. So in order to do some change, we're now using biological sprays, which includes the likes of the worm juice or castings and fish and seaweed products, plus a few minerals added that soil tests and plant tests tell us what's needed. So we do those foliar sprays. We might also do applications of some minerals, the likes of our lime, and to get some calcium and the likes, we might use the likes of chook manure from chook sheds. So being happy and healthy plants is something that comes through a little bit longer operation of using our animals and looking for what is needed. And so far we're getting reasonable growth. Like we've only just come out of winter. We can look here, we've got a lot of new growth. You can see on these leaves, that's all new growth. And you know, over there we've probably got a foot of growth since the cattle were here last. We can only expect that it's going to get better now that we're coming into the late spring and summer period. So it's pretty good, and we're pretty happy with the way it's going. So we'll just talk about this so-called undesirable in our system. We call it Chinese burr. It is actually a woody type weed, which would be bringing nutrient from further down. But if you look closely, you can see that the cattle actually do chew on it. They don't eat the whole plant, but they do seem to chew quite a lot of plant material from it. So they'd be getting a bit of roughage in chewing a little bit of that plant. But overall, I probably don't need it to be prolific in my system, but I don't get too upset with it being in the system. It's obviously giving something to the gut health of our animals. This plant here is pretty prolific in our coastal environment and called bracken fern. This particular plant's a very vigorous one. They don't normally grow quite as tall, but it tends to come in when your pH is not correct or not desirable for just grass growth. So it is poisonous to animals, but in most cases, if you've got plenty of other desirable plants, they won't eat it. It might be a naive animal that might take some, or when there's a brand new young succulent plant that the animals just accidentally get when they're chewing other grasses. But it is probably undesirable, but we don't tend to concern ourselves other than looking forward to being able to change the soil well enough that it will just disappear out of the system as well. But it is coastal country, so a fern is more likely to be here than other places. If you do have this bracken fern in your system and you want to do something with it mechanically, what you can utilise is just roller crimping or rolling it. I travelled over this with my spray buggy, and just by rolling it or rolling on it with my wheel, effectively it's killed that plant. And possibly because we've done it that way, it's still attached to the ground, but it's been crimped, and they don't like that. If we were to slash it, we would see a new plant in no time at all. They must send a signal when you slash a plant compared with just rolling it or crimping it. So you can reduce the population by just crimping with bracken fern. So as a way of really explaining where we want to get to is the fact that we would like, highly nutrient dense plants to feed our animals so they become nutrient dense as well. So obviously if we can work towards that with the use of our animals, with their action and their activity, making sure we're matching the desired results for soil and plant to get super healthy environment, we will increase carbons. Increase the carbons, you increase your water capacity, and overall the whole production goes forward. So that's our desire, and it takes a little while. I'm always cautious to say to people, you won't expect it overnight. So we've been going at this since the end of 2019, maybe the beginning of 20, and we're probably halfway on our journey to having some real good successes. So yeah, utilise foliar sprays, utilise your cows, utilise some inputs. We always only use organic style inputs, and work with nature. Allow her to do her thing, because she will.